Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel, and if you're listening in the podcast, thank you so much for being here. It is September 12th, 2023. I had to come here and make this video. I'm just gonna talk to you guys about what happened to me during New York Fashion Week. I just got back today, this afternoon. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can tell that I look very tired. But I'm so thankful. I did get very tired this time around. It is a lot. Fashion Week is a lot of work, and some people, I don't know how people do like one, two, five shows. I just did one and I'm so tired. And this is, this all happens after the collection is done. But I'm here to tell you something. This time around, after closing down my business in February, and quickly after that, soon after that, realizing that God said we're not done yet, and reopening again under a not a complete different name, but into reopening into a new name, and registering everything back again to see what it is that God, He said we're not done yet. So I want to know, where He's taking me to, right? And I just gotta say, this time around, like, I knew that I was gonna present again at New York Fashion Week, and I was like, whatever fashion show I end up at, I want my attitude to be grateful, because how can you not be grateful, right? But the main thing with me was coming from completely shutting down and even closing the studio down to now being given the opportunity again to showcase my designs. And as you guys know, of course, everything is for the glory of God. I was, when you have conversations with your own self, I'm like, this time around, I'm gonna come with the attitude of gratefulness and thankfulness. So thankful to God every single day. In case you guys don't know my story, when I graduated from college, it was a struggle for me to get a job in New York City as a designer, or even just working in the fashion industry. It took me, you know, so long to realize that was not the way that God wanted this to turn out, right? I remember going to countless interviews when I graduated college, sending resumes, waiting for an opportunity, a chance. And I remember, it took about maybe like a year or two. It's so crazy. I'm so persistent, right? And I couldn't believe, how can God allow me to go to fashion and continue this dream that I carried since I was a little girl. And once I had my diploma in my hands, nothing was opening for me. I couldn't understand that. So I was so persistent, going to interview after interviews. And I think it took me like a year and a half after I graduated college to say, I remember walking towards 42nd Street to turn by Bryant Park to go to Grand Central to come back to Connecticut. And I was like, I am not doing this again. I was like, I am done doing interviews. I am done this. Every door is being shut down in my face. Every interview, I get prepared, I get ready, and I'm so hopeful and expectant to get a call back. And I will get even callbacks and everything, and I'm like, this is the job, I know it, this is it, and it's different. And then nothing will come out of that, and I couldn't understand that. And I eventually, even going through interviews, I was working in retail, because I got a job soon after college. But now, as in the fashion, I got it in retail. I was doing visual merchandising, and that's fine, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. But I was like, calling out from work, just to get to interviews in New York. And I'm like, I remember walking 42nd Street. I'm like, I'm not doing this again. Okay, this is gonna be the last job interview that I'm gonna come here, knock on the door, right? And then the years passed by. I was working for this retail company as a visual merchandising. 7 years passed by, and the whole push came back again. I'm like, I gotta do something with this fashion thing that God has put in me since I was a little girl, my desire, my dream to have my own clothing line. And then, I've spoken about this many times, and then I opened the studio, and then I registered my brand. And once I got that, I think it was like 2 days after the opportunities came up, right? And that's how I knew, okay, this is how God wanted this whole thing to work out for me. For I wasn't meant to work for another design company. I was meant to open my own company and work as a designer for my own company. And the years passed by, and all of that, everything that I've done, so many fashion shows, so many things. And early in 2023, I was like, this is gonna be the year that God is gonna take this brand to a whole different level. And this is me speaking in January, and I don't know how frustration can really get to you. By February, I was like, this is gonna be the last month for me for Julissadesigns brand. And it's so crazy because looking back at it now, I cannot understand how I can go from this is gonna be the year to this is gonna be, I'm shutting everything down and it's over, right? And thanks be to God, because a lot of the times we think we know what we want, right? We think we got it, and we think, we are great at, God gives you the free will, but you can, thanks be to God that even if you make a mistake, you feel it, you have discernment, you're like, okay, I think I made a mistake closing down my business. And it's almost like I felt God going like this with his finger, like, go back and like, we're not done. Go back and reopen. Go and make everything again, right again, when it comes to like the business, right? So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna register my business. Unfortunately, after learning that God wanted me to reopen, I guess I procrastinated a little bit, and it had been past the 90 days, so I couldn't use Julissadesigns LLC, so I had to register with a new name, which is basically Julissadesigns Glory to God LLC. And I registered and made it official, banking, all of that stuff, right? And I remember, okay, now, it's summertime, I need to know what fashion show I was gonna do, right? And this foundation Break Free New York Fashion Week, I known about it for a couple of years. I think they started in 2020, I'm not sure exactly, but I know they do fashion shows and things like that. And I was like, oh, I can always do this fashion show, right? Because it's such a great cause. It's about mental health and all of that, it's a great cause. And I already kind of know some of the people behind the people that work with Alexandra, she's the one in charge of that whole foundation Break Free New York Fashion Week, right? So I was like, that would be a great opportunity for me. And I'm, I will get emails, invitations to present, and I was like, oh no, I already signed up for another show, or I don't really like, doing New Year Fashion Week in February. I don't know why. I just if I'm gonna do New Year Fashion Week, it has to be the September edition for me. I'm not sure why. Things can change. So I was like, okay, that will be another opportunity. So I was searching, there are so many companies, so many opportunities to showcase, but whatever it was gonna be, I knew one thing is like, I'm gonna come with the attitude of gratefulness and thankfulness. And it's almost like this time around it's different, and it's completely different, and I can be the only one who knows that, and God, of course. But learning about myself and changing things from the past, things that I wasn't happy with after the show is over. There are things that you look at and you're like, why did I say that? Why did I act like that? What could I have done better, right? Because fashion is such a, like I always say, it's such a prideful type of industry. The only industry where you see the designer coming out at the end, and things like that, little things like that, and it can really get to your head. I'm like, I'm gonna come differently, because, number one, I'm so thankful that I'm given the opportunity to reopen my business again. That's just on its own, it's a big thankfulness that even though I made this huge decision to close it down, that I was able to very quickly kind of like reopen and be established once again. And I was like, whatever show I end up being on, I gotta check myself and I gotta check my attitude and I gotta be grateful and thankful and humility and all of that stuff, because if now it's almost like it's so weird. It's almost like now the purpose of this whole thing that I do with fashion, it has a different meaning, because it's almost like I know God wanted me to reopen again. So back in 2014 when I opened Julissadesigns LLC, it's almost like I saw, it's so hard to explain, but it's like I saw an opportunity for me to have my own studio, right? And I was like, okay, I can rent this office space and register my business and take it from there. But this time around, after I did all that I had to do from 2014 to 2023 and shutting down and kind of like knowing for certain that God wanted me to reopen, it's almost like now it's like it's like his thing. It's so weird. It's like I'm a representative of his company. It's so strange, and because of that, I'm so humble and thankful that I get to do that. I am so thankful to Julissadesigns. Glory to God. It's almost like it's not even mine. It belongs to the Lord, and I'm just representing it. Kind of like I'm just the face for it, but at the end of the day, it's not even my company. It's his company, and it's all for his glory, right? So this time around, I knew I gotta check certain things that I do, that I learned from previous fashion show. I'm like, don't get mad. Let's just say, if the models that you were promised don't show up, right? Don't make that be like the game change for a great opportunity. Don't lose sight of what the opportunity is, right? Don't get upset. Like even last night I was shaking myself. Don't get upset about that. It's so minimum to get upset if somebody like, I was struggling a little bit because we had a situation where people were kind of taking over, and I remember, correcting people. Don't touch my garment because they're all ready to go. There's steam and everything as we were waiting, and I'm like, okay, don't, like, it's okay, you can re-steam or something. You can do a little quick touch up. So this time around, I know I needed to be more thankful for everything, because everything that I said, right, and also coming to know that just me being able, like, as I'm taking the train to New York, right, and getting to New York City and getting to the hotel, I'm thinking to myself, looking out the window, I'm thinking to myself, I remember walking those streets so much with my portfolio in hand for so many days, so hopeful, so waiting for an opportunity. When you go to interviews, they always say to you, this is amazing, we'll give you a call back and things like that. And nobody ever gave me a chance to work for their company. And the fact that I'm able to come to New York and present with my own brand, that's a miracle in itself, and it's like, how can anything bother me if the miracle is still like just being there, right? Just given an opportunity to showcase a collection. Like, I remember not long ago when I would say things like, I don't make collections, I'm a designer, I don't really sew things. Like, I forced myself to sew. Like, I knew the basic stuff about sewing, but creating a collection, I know how to sketch it out. I know how to get inspired, I can sketch out better. That is probably my biggest strength. It comes in the drawing. The sewing part is a work in progress. And I remember when I would limit myself, when I was working retail, I would limit myself. I would be like, oh, I'm gonna need, for me to have a collection, man, I'm gonna need a lot of money. I'm gonna need a seamstress who can do my designs and things like that. And then when I opened my first business, Julissadesigns LLC, I was like, I'm gonna sew, right? I'm gonna learn, and I'm gonna continue to learn what I learned from school. Because when you go to school for fashion, so I don't know, back when I went to school, it was more into they'll teach you the basic, right? But the main goal is like as a designer is to prepare a collection, how to get inspired, selection, fabric selection, things like that, in the business of fashion, right? So, again, like not long ago, I couldn't even like create a collection. I didn't have a collection. I didn't have things like that. And for me to, when I came from the show yesterday, I was looking out the window. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And it's so crazy because I sound like this is my first show ever. But it's not. It's not even my first showing ever in New York either. It's like my third New York Fashion Week now. But even so, I still am so thankful that God allows me to do things like that, because nobody will hire me. And it's like I said, it is now looking at my new business, I feel like I'm just an employee in God's company, right? So I am so thankful. If I'm so thankful just to be there, how can I let any little things like bother me, So that's what the attitude I wanted to be last night, for me. And I knew it, like the minute I signed up for this show, I knew it. And it's so crazy, I don't think I told the organizer, but for this show, I was like, okay, the summertime came, I registered my new business and all of that. I knew I was gonna make a new collection. I knew that, for the minute I said, go back and, you were not done yet, right? So I was like, okay, I know it was gonna happen, right? And then I started looking for an office again, right? I couldn't find one. I'm like, it took me a month. I'm like, I can't find an office space for me to work on. So I was like thinking to myself, I never wanted to work out of my home, right? I don't have a big living space, and I'm like, but I still have a space. So I couldn't find an office that was doable and it was affordable. So I'm like, I'm not gonna let not having an office determine whether or not I'm gonna do what God called me to do, right? That's just craziness. So this is what God wants me to do, so I'm gonna continue. So I was like, it took me a month, 4 weeks, couldn't find an office. Okay, I'm gonna start doing everything from my home and made the space, right? I made the space, you can see back there. So I made the space, I'm still looking for a place, I gotta say, one of the hardest things has been working from home to make this collection, because I'm so not used to it. But it still worked out, right? So I made the collection and I was like, okay, so what fashion show I'm gonna participate? And this foundation has been emailing, we're looking for designers and things like that. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, let me see, and things like that. And I was like, and then because going back to your comfort zone is always so easy. I was like, I see myself like spending money on the fabric and things like that, right? I'm like, I don't, things happen in your personal life. I'm like, I don't want to get stressed out about this collection. And then I was thinking, maybe I don't have to do New Year Fashion Week in September. Maybe I don't have to do it. And then, it's almost like you play with your mind. You're like, I don't have to do it. Like, I don't really have to be there. And it's like, but, God called you. God said to you, you're not done yet. And you registered your new business already. And you have everything set up. And you see them reaching out for looking for designers. How can you not, right? I was like, Yeah, Julissa, get out of the comfort zone, okay? And just follow what God called you to do, right? And I was like, if she is, I said this, I'm like, if I get another email from them, I know this is it. I know I'm meant to do this, right? And I tell you, as I finished saying that, like, it's almost like they heard me, because the email came right then. And then I will still have spots for designers. I'm like, okay, I got it. That's my call. I got it, Lord. So I signed up, reached out to sign up, and not only that, after speaking to her, to Alexandra, and I had so many questions for her, and she was so patiently and kind to answer all of my concerns, and you know. And not only that, but she helped me a lot too when it came to the fee of the show, which means so much to me. And here I am again with the attitude of gratefulness and thankfulness, because at the end of the day, the miracle in its own is that I'm able to do this. I'm able to present a collection under my own brand, to glorify God, to use Christian music for my show, to to do fittings as a designer, when nobody will validate you as a designer. Here I am, doing fittings for models, and again, it sounds like this is my first show ever, which is not, but it's almost like God is reminding me again, the miracle in this whole thing about my dream of being a designer is that I'm able to do just that. Forget everything else, right? Forget everything that happened in the past and not being able to get hired by a fashion company, but do not lose sight of what God already did, which is me being able to present a collection and being able to be there and being able to choose, like, to choose my music, which is so important. You guys know that everything that I do is to glorify God and to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. And as I'm preparing and even choosing and like getting myself ready, I'm like, I already know what song. I'm like, I know I'm gonna use some type of old Spanish hymns, like corritos, in this collection. And I was like, okay, it's gonna be something with Alex Zurdo, or like something that is a little beat, but it's about old Spanish corritos that I would sing when I was in church growing up in the Dominican Republic. And just that, like, I mixed the song together and all of that, and I was able to use but Israel Houghton and Adrienne, they were doing like a Spanish corritos, and I was able to use two songs from that and mix it up with my unspoken Reason, which is one of my favorite songs ever, which basically explains a lot. And the video for that song, by the way, Unspoken, the song Reason, is so amazing. It's the father and the daughter she's being so persistent to achieve something, so that she's called to do, and then the father, knowing what the time and being there and catching her before she does some mistakes and things like that. And it's amazing. That's why I like that song so much. And of course the song Higher, which is also by Unspoken, which I use in many of my shows, because basically it explains everything that I'm trying to do too. But anyways, I'm almost running out of time, but I wanted to come here and tell you something that last night I caught myself right after the show. I was so tired, and I'm always like, I should have spoken more to more people, things like that. And I'm so thankful to be there. I was so thankful. One of the best fashion show production I ever worked with. People who really care for you. It's not like, and I'm not trying to sound like high maintenance, nothing like that. But when you go to present a collection, like I said, it's a lot of work, and you're basically not only do you work on the collection, but you get to the show and you just a lot of work. It's a lot of fittings, a lot of things, but to be able to have so many assistants and people who are willing to work behind the scenes to make everything flow. Even like, let me just start by saying, even from the hotel to the venue, I took a taxi, right? I mean, even just getting out of my room with the garment bags, the guy who helped me, so people were just going out of their way to help me. The taxi, the guy who helped me bring the garment bags all the way to the street, the guy who helped me get a taxi, so thankful for all those people. You have no idea. I'm so thankful, and I know they're God sent because they went out of their way. Um, the taxi, like the entrance for the place was kind of difficult. Not only did he park his car kind of like on the side, and he left his cab there, and he's like, I'll take you right through he took me all the way kind of like to the elevator, carrying everything that I had to bring. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. Like, it's New York City, and this guy, and the place is right on Broadway, so the street was like blocked off for traffic, right, for cars. And he left the car kind of like in a very, like, I wouldn't leave my car there, you know what I mean? And he just left it, and he's like, I'm gonna walk you all the way over to the door. And I'm like, I can't believe he's actually doing that for me. And then he took me there, and he's like, you got everything, you're good. I'm like, okay, that's God sent. That you just know that is God sent, right? And then getting there, getting situated, and out of nowhere, here comes this young girl. She's like, I can help you with whatever you need, and I'm gonna be your assistant for the day. I'm like, this is amazing. And she was a trooper. She helped me with everything. And when we were lined up for the show, I'm looking at her and asking her questions. Is this the right lineup? Because she took charge of everything that I needed in that moment, kind of like taking a lot of stress from me. She if we couldn't find a model, she's like, I'm gonna go grab them. If we couldn't find somebody who was kind of lost getting in, she went and grabbed them. Steaming, anything that was needed, she was helpful. Everything, the flow of everything last night was amazing, and it was just great to be there. And I'm so thankful. Like, my whole attitude is still like, I'm in this thankfulness type of attitude, and I'm so thankful for God. And coming back, the taxi too was amazing. And he was like, so, and like, it's not like I'm giving, like, I didn't have any cash on me. So people will say, oh, if you give them tip, they always do that. No, I didn't have cash on me. And they're getting out of their cars, they're helping me with everything that I ever needed, and in a very high traffic area, by the way. And I'm like, I'm just so thankful for everything. Like I said, I'm almost running out of time, but this time around is definitely different. I feel like I'm just a representative in God's company, and I'm so 100%, I know this is what I'm called to do. Last night I said to the models, I don't know if I'm gonna come out on the finale walk. It depends. I never, in the past I used to not do that, and I'm like, I'm gonna be bold for Christ. So my message in the collection is very strong. So yes, I gotta come and show my face. And just doing that quick walk back from the runway all the way back for the finale walk, seeing people, some groups of people I was able to pick out that were really clapping, and you can tell that they got what I'm all about, what my collection is all about, and I'm so thankful for that. And some people will come after the show and say that was great and things like that. And some of the models were so thankful just to be there, so willing to help out, willing to participate, and having the right attitude. Like I told you, this has been probably one of the best fashion production I ever worked with, and I'm so thankful for that. And everything worked out so great, and I'm so looking forward to see where God is taking this whole thing. But I know 100% this time around, this is where He wants me to go, and everything is coming according to His plan. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and listening to the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. I will make a video with photos. God bless everybody. Hi everybody, this is Julissa. I'm here to invite you to my podcast, Julissadesigns, and it can be found on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can join me every day as I make episodes of the latest news, real life stories, and I also share my favorite Bible verse. Hope to see you then. God bless. Everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you want to know more about me, you can always visit www.julissadesigns.com. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.